Hi everyone, it's Four Corners, and today I wanted to talk about why I love the Crossroads from Ninjago Dragons Rising so much. Now, Ninjago is no stranger to iconic locations, from the really popular Ninjago City to the monastery to lesser known but really intriguing locations like this forest with the huge trees and Temple of the Dragon energy cores. Today, however, I kind of wanted to shine a spotlight on the Crossroads and talk about 4 reasons which I compiled as to why I think the Crossroads are so good in execution. Those 4 reasons being: 1, smaller roads; 2, being imagination; 3, being story significance; and 4, being the message. So starting off with number 1, you might be thinking, smaller roads, what does that mean? What does that have anything to do with the Crossroads being good? Well, the Crossroads itself, the way it's done is it has very narrow pathways, or the roads itself aren't really roads. I mean, they have a couple bridges with asphalt on them, but most of them are just paved brick. As far as I can tell, the roads only hold capacity for about 2-way traffic for cars most of the time. Now, the reason smaller roads are better is because they provide a vibrant social life. Now, what happens in these suburbs and a lot of places in America is they build these huge roads because there's a lot of traffic. And then what happens is, since they're building big roads, things actually end up being more far apart from each other, and then people become more reliant on cars because you can't walk to stuff nearby anymore, and then they end up getting more traffic. But what also happens there is the social life kind of dies. People are driving more to these bigger stores, and since there's only one of them, instead of a lot of tiny little independent businesses where they wouldn't be as big, but there would be one closer to you. I think the best way to describe this is New York from the United States in real life is extremely walkable. You can walk to a lot of places if you need groceries or coffee or just want to work. But somewhere like Phoenix, Arizona, which is where I live, we have giant suburbs and they keep getting built farther and farther apart from each other, and I can't really walk to the local gym or the local grocery store. And so what happens is you don't really see people, you're just kind of going from car to place, from car to place. So how that works with the Crossroads is, since everything's very tight together, people are walking to locations, there are more stores, and so there's a more vibrant social life, which is exactly what the Crossroads is trying to do. Now, number 2 is imagination. Ninjago has always been kind of like Marvel, in my opinion, when it comes to the world. Like, yes, Marvel and Ninjago have these different planets and realms, but at the end of the day, their main home, in terms of Marvel, it's Earth, and in terms of Ninjago, it's a little bit more far out, but it's loosely based off of East Asian cities. But with Ninjago Dragons Rising, the main location is no longer anything like our world. Like, yes, the Crossroads itself is loosely based off of New York, I believe, but it's very much its own thing with new kinds of people. They're not all human. There's snail people and frog people and so on. So I feel like Ninjago has finally went all the way with becoming its own thing, and I feel like it's wanted to do that for a long time. But other than that, I can go on forever about the carnivals and their own kind of mech races and the different kinds of shops. Number 3 is story significance, which is kind of a symbiotic relationship between Dragons Rising and the Crossroads. Dragons Rising uses the Crossroads to forever remind you, hey, these lands have merged. You need to pay attention to that because that is the center of the story. The show even goes as far to limit how much they show Ninjago City a lot, to make sure that the merge is constantly on your mind. Because imagine it took place in Ninjago City, like we would see the merge and then we would see Ninjago City being all normal. So it'd kind of be on the back of people's minds, which the writers probably don't want. And in return, the Crossroads ends up being very important for the story. And I think that matters because Ninjago has had intriguing locations before. Like I mentioned earlier, the forest with the huge giant trees and the Temple of the Dragon energy cores. Beautiful location, but unfortunately, they didn't really use it that much, so it's hard for it to stay on fans' minds versus the Crossroads, which is heavily focused on. Now, number 4 is the message. I think it's very beautiful that people who don't belong anywhere, whether good or bad, finally belong somewhere. They find a home here between these realms, which is kind of where Crossroads gets its name, which is really sweet, and it ties into Eren and Sora's story earlier on really well. So it's kind of cool to see the location tell that story as well. So in recap, the Crossroads are successful because the smaller roads kind of bringing everything together, making it more cramped, but also giving it more vibrant social life. It pushes Ninjago's imagination of world building to the absolute limits. It has great story significance, and the message, as we just talked about, is very wholesome. And that is all for me analyzing the Crossroads, thinking about why it's successful. Thank you for watching. Comment down below what your favorite Ninjago location is. Mine is still not the Crossroads, but that's because there's a lot of other factors, like maybe a set I got when I was a kid kind of inputting on what my favorite location would be. And as usual, I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.